Hello everyone. Today we'll start this video with another very important topic, and this is a topic that is going to be useful to you your lifetime. I'm doing a very important topic. This is helpful to you. Once I start discussing it, you will understand it's really very helpful, and you should learn writing it correctly. So we're going to concentrate more on writing. We're done with letters, 3 different types of letters. Now we are going to do another topic. Now what we are going to do today is job application and resume. Okay, job application and resume. I'm going to talk about resume in my next video, but today I'm going to talk to you about a job application. What is a job application? A job application is something that should accompany a resume. That's very important. Your resume should always be accompanied by a job application. Of course, resume is known to all of you. Resume is all your details, your personal details, your educational details, isn't it? All that is written in a resume. When do you write a job application and when do you submit your resume? Only when you are looking for a job, isn't it? So when you're looking for a job very soon, maybe in the third year, second semester, or fourth year, first semester, you'll be appearing for different interviews, right? And when you're appearing for an interview, you have to submit your job application along with your resume. So you have to learn to do it correctly, because the call for an interview depends on how you write your job application and how you submit your resume. Very important, guys. So listen to me attentively and put them on paper. I'm going to discuss a few points with you. I would want you to put it on paper even as I am discussing job application with you, right? Now, what is a job application? I'll try and explain that to you in a very easy layman's terms so that you will be able to understand what is a job application, right? Now, let me talk to you about something that you are all very familiar with. Do you know a sales representative? You know him, right? Him or her. We have come across at least 1 or 2 sales representatives so far. Yeah, they knock at your door, and the moment you open your door, they give you a bright smile, isn't it? They smile, and they look for you to welcome them inside. But we are very clever. We stop them at the door, and even before they open their mouth, we are shutting the door, saying that no, we don't want it, isn't it? We do it, right? But we have seen sales representatives who don't give up easily on us. Even if you say no, they'll say just one line, 2 words with you, ma'am. Still, when you say no, still they will try to convince you. I mean, they will tell you what they want to tell you, isn't it? And sometimes they go to the extent of convincing you so much that you want to buy that product, right? So today I'm going to give you a definition of what a salesman is. Now listen to what I'm telling carefully, and you will understand who a salesman is, right? So the definition of a salesman. Who is a salesman? A salesman is he who can sell a fridge to people living in Eskimos, igloos. Okay, I'll repeat what I just said. Think about it properly and then try and understand what I'm trying to tell you. And a salesman is he who can sell a fridge to people living in igloos, or who can sell a fridge to Eskimos. Now, who are Eskimos? We must have learnt it in our childhood, isn't it? What is an igloo? Igloos are houses which are built with ice. Yeah, you can see that, when you go to Discovery channels, you can actually see those cave-like structures, which are made with ice. And people who are living in those ice caves, are called Eskimos. And those ice caves are called igloos. Now, where do you find these igloos and where do you find these Eskimos? In, in the places where there is extreme snowfall, where the temperature is in -degrees Celsius, right? Extremely cold. The Arctic, the Antarctic, these are the places where there is extreme snowfall and it's extremely cold, right? And people make houses out of ice and they live in those ice houses. So people who are living in those ice houses are called Eskimos. Now, who is a salesman? How can you define a salesman? If he can go and sell a fridge to them. Do they need a fridge? They are already living under ice, around ice, yeah? There is ice and ice and ice everywhere. Now, a salesman is considered to be talented, skillful and excellent when he can go and sell a fridge to them. Yeah, such person is called a salesman. Now, what has this to do with your job application? Your job application will also do the same job that the salesman did. This is what your job application does. Yeah, he could sell that product which they don't need, right? Now here you are also selling, but what are you selling? You are selling your talent and your skill to the employer, right? The way you write your letter, the way you design and pattern your letter should be such where you are telling the employer that these are your talents, these are your abilities, these are your skills, and you will be of utmost importance and use to the employer, right? Your letter should be designed in such a way that when you are talking to the employer should feel that if I don't select this person, I think I'm going to lose something. Yeah, the person is not at a loss, but I will be at a loss if I don't select him or her. That should be the way you design and pattern your letter. Alright, now here you can play with your language, you can play with words, you can play with the framing of sentences. You have to you have to sell your abilities, your talent and your skill through a job application. Now, why do I need a job application when all that is spoken in a resume? In the resume, you are trying to be very brief, isn't it? You are trying to put them in steps in an order, right? You talk about your personal details, you're talking about your educational qualifications. That's it. You're talking about your address, your hobbies. But in a letter, in a job application, you're framing paragraphs, you're framing sentences where you are talking to the employer in detail about yourself, right? So job application, another thing that I have to tell you is when for example there is a opportunity or there is a vacancy in a particular company, right? And this company might have around 10 vacancies, yeah, for the post of a junior engineer. You are a junior engineer and now you have to apply for this post. 10 vacancies. Now the unemployment ratio in our country is so high that for 10 vacancies in a particular company you will get around 100 applications, giving the employer a tough time and not able to understand what to choose, what not to choose, right? Now when they get 100 applications, do you think that they will read all the applications? They don't have the time to do that. And especially when you're writing paragraphs after paragraphs about yourself, they will not have time to read your job application. Usually what the employer do, an employer will get a very good impression on you when your resume is accompanied by a job application, because your job application is giving a gist, it is giving a brief up of your talents and your abilities. So reading your job application, they might call you for an interview, though it is not mandatory. Sometimes if the job application is boring, the employer will not even look at your resume. Yeah, forget about calling you for an interview. They will not even look at your resume and you are disqualified right away. So when you write a job application, your application should look crisp, it should be attractive, it should make the employer curious about you. The way you write your letter, the employer should want to meet you. You should make him curious and eager to meet you. That's how you write a job application. Now there are certain things you have to keep in mind while writing a job application. Now let me tell you in a very simple terminology what is a job application. A job application is nothing but blowing your own trumpet. Yeah, blowing your own trumpet. Now in your language it is self-dabba. Yeah, you have to speak so highly about yourself that the person will become curious and will be eager to meet you. That is how you should write your job application. If you have a paper and a pen, jot down the few important points that I am talking to you about how to write a job application. Alright? Okay. To start with, a well formatted resume can do wonders. Yeah, a very neatly formatted resume can actually create a lot of wonders for you in your life. But no matter how good it should be accompanied by a job application. As I said, maybe you design the job application, a resume. These days guys, resumes are written by professionals, like naukri.com, shine.com, and there are so many other consultancies where you go and pay them and they will write your resume. Yeah, to write a resume which is so simple, so easy, once you learn it, people go and beg those professionals to write their resumes. What do? They only play with words. They are very creative, talented and skillful to write something about you in a neatly formatted resume, right? And for that I've heard that naukri.com charges around 4,500 for a one-page resume. Monster.com charges you 8,000 to write a one-page, resume. So what I would suggest is learn how to write a resume and write it on your own. You don't have to depend on somebody to do it for you. It's because, as I said, a resume, a well-written resume will attract the employer, and that is the reason they go around and ask these people to write their resumes. So a resume, however good and however well patterned it is, it should be accompanied by a job application, which is very, very important. Another thing that you have to notice, let me put it on the board. What I am talking to you is about job application. Okay? Job application, which is also called a cover letter. Tomorrow in the question paper, if you write a cover letter, don't tell them that your teacher has not taught you what a cover letter is. A job application is also called a cover letter. Okay, a cover letter. Is this clear? So now coming to the actual aspects of a job application. Now the first point that you have to make a note of is you communicate with your employer. When you're writing a job application, it is like you are directly talking to your employer. You're talking to the person who has given an advertisement in the papers or online for a vacancy. So your job application should be stylized in such a way that you are directly talking to your employer. That's the first thing. Why should you write? Okay, why should you write a job job application? Because you're going to talk to your employer through your letter. The second point, show how your skills and experience are relevant. In your job application, you're talking about your skills, your talents, your ability, and in case you have any experience, you're talking about that. So why are you talking about that? You're talking about that to your employer to tell them how you can put your experience and your qualification and your talent to use in their company. Right? Now, whenever you talk to the employer about increasing their profits, they'll be very happy with you, isn't it? They want profits. They are looking for profits. If they have given a vacancy, it's because they want to hire somebody who's going to help them, be number one in the market, who's going to help them, gather a lot of profits. The moment you say my abilities and my talents are such that I can actually increase the productivity of your company, I can see that your company becomes the topmost company in the market. Who would not be interested in, talking to you? Isn't it? At least if not giving you a job immediately, they would definitely want to talk to you and find out how can you increase our market value, isn't it? So the way you present your talents, your skills and your abilities should be such that you are going to talk about the benefits the company would acquire by hiring you. That is how you have to design your job application, right? That's the second point. The third point is it helps your employer know you better. Now your resume is limited. Not much about your personality is given in the resume. But in a job application, when you write and talk about yourself, you are allowing the employer to know many things about you, to know you better. Okay? To know you better. This is what you're enabling your employer to know. Fine? The next point about writing a job application is the employer understands your interest in the position. Now you are applying for a particular position. As I spoke to you, I said junior assistant. Now just because there is a vacancy, you must have applied. Yeah, you must have applied just because you're not doing anything and you want to work somewhere, right? You did it very casually. Now when you are doing something casually, it shows in the way you write your job application. But if you are doing it with a lot of passion, zeal and interest in the job, again that will be seen in your job application. So the way you design and the way you write your application will indicate to the employer how interested you are in that job. Yeah, that is how you should write it. You should create that curiosity in your employer to meet you in person, to know more about you, right? Okay. Now the next point is, after showing your interest in the position, a job application should be eye-catching. It should be able to grab quick attention. The way you start your sentences, right? Usually the job application's first line should be punchy. Okay? It should be punchy. It should be a lot of creativity should be shown there. The way you start that letter, the person should continue reading more about you. What's more? What's more? That is a curiosity you should arouse in your employer. So try writing punchy. Now when I say punchy, I'm not asking you to write Adi's dialogues. Yeah, you know what, Zabardast program on television, Adi is very popular for his punchy dialogues, isn't it? But then those will not work out here. The way you write your application, the way you start your application should attract your employer. He should want to read more about you. That is how you start, right? So make your job application attractive towards the employer. And the next is, it should tell the employer why you fit for the job, right? There might be 10 vacancies, there might be 100 applicants, but out of the 100, you will talk to your employer telling him why you are the best, right? Tell the employer what is good about you, what talents you possess, what abilities you have, what kind of a person you are, what is your personality. Talk to the employer in such a way that, you know, he would understand that you are definitely the best for the company, right? So you have to, as I said, sell your talents and your skills to the employer. Sell it. The employer should not be able to say no to you. That is how you write your job application. The next point is, yeah, tailor or customize your job application according to the job. Now tailor or customize. Now what is tailor? Tailor is, you know, a tailor. For example, you go with some fabric to the tailor and you ask the tailor to, you know, stitch something for you. What does the tailor do? He tries to match that, you know, fabric according to your body shape and size, isn't it? He tries to tailor it according to the size and shape of your body. Now what is customize? Customize is also the same. You're trying to customize your talents and skills according to the requirement. For example, I'll give you something very simple to understand. You might be a very good dancer, you might be very good at singing, you might be very good at playing cricket, or you know, you might be very good at cooking, right? These are a few things that you possess. Now this job that you are applying for is for a junior engineer in a construction company, right? Now what does the construction company require? They require a qualified engineer who knows everything about construction, isn't it? Usually a civil engineer. A civil engineer can apply for the job of a junior engineer in a construction company. Now in this construction company, you are supposed to, you know, have the knowledge about construction. Yeah, how to lay the foundation, how to build pillars, what kind of material or raw material you have to be using in the, you know, during the construction. All this is what they look for in you, isn't it? Now when you are applying for such a post, will you talk about you being a good dancer? Yeah, I am a very good dancer, I sing very well, I sing better than Arjit Singh and Balasubramaniam. Yeah, or I am a very good cricketer. Yeah, I can play as good as Dhoni. Now since Dhoni has retired, I can take his place. Will you tell all this to the employer? What will the employer, you know, think about you? He'll think, how crazy, how silly this is. It has nothing to do with your job, isn't it? So your talent and your skill should be customized in such a way that it suits the job that you're applying for, right? For example, if they are looking for, as I said, a junior engineer, talk about your core knowledge, the core subject knowledge. What are your experiences? What are the different projects that you worked on? Did you ever visit a constructing site, or was there any internship in that particular, you know, construction field? So talk about such things which will enable the employer to understand your core area and where the employer would know that you are fit for the job. So customize your resume according to the job. Customize your resume according to the job. Don't talk about unnecessary things in your job application. Talk to the point. Hit it right at the center. Don't, you know, deviate, and don't try creating stories and, you know, false cock and bull things about yourself. Try writing your resume, your application according to what is the requirement. Alright, so customize it that way. And then the next point is the opening paragraph. Now how you will start writing your job application. So the first paragraph, what should the first paragraph consist of? It should build a brand and add value to you. The first line of your paragraph of your job application should show the employer that you are a brand in itself, right? You are no less when compared to the others. You should talk to the customer, you know, the employer in such a way that you are a brand. And the way you add adjectives to your personality should increase your value, right? You should talk to the person saying that I am excellent at communication skills. I have good leadership qualities in me. I am a team player. Okay, these are certain things that will add value to your personality. So the first paragraph, you are creating a brand for yourself, right? You're creating a brand for yourself. And then the second paragraph is called the hooking paragraph. Now, what is the hooking paragraph? Hooking paragraph is the second one. This hooking paragraph will hook to the first paragraph and will hook to the third paragraph, right? It comes in the center. Now, what should your hooking paragraph have? It should consist of work done. Like so far, what is the different types of works that you have undertaken, your experiences if you have any, results and education. Okay, now results, what is the result that I'm talking about? I'm not talking about your academic results. The work that you did, what was the result? Did you achieve the goals? Yeah, did you achieve any profits? Were you of any help to that particular company? Did you achieve their target? What was your achievement? That is the result, not your academic result. Is that clear? So mention this in your second paragraph. These were a few internships that I did and this was the result. This is what I acquired. Or these were the jobs that I worked on a temporary basis and this is what I acquired. So this should come in your hooking paragraph. That is the center, the second paragraph. And finally, the last paragraph. What should you do in the last paragraph? You should summarize all your abilities and talents in the last paragraph. So the last paragraph should be a summary of all your talents, your abilities and your skills. But another thing that you have to keep in mind is all the three paragraphs that you write in your job application should be equally interesting. It should capture the reader's attention till the end. In between, the reader should not become casual and throw your letter aside. The way you increase his curiosity, he should continue reading it till the end. And the summary of your letter should actually force him to call you for an interview. As I said, every person that applies for a job, it is not mandatory to be called for an interview. Yeah, 10 vacancies, 100 applications. They would not have to call all the 100 applications. They will sort out your applications. They will read your job application. They will go through your resume, and out of the 100, maybe they'll select around 20 people for the 10 vacancies that are there. So I don't want you to be in that 90 applications which are left aside. You should be in that 20 applications which attract the curiosity of your employer and which make your employer eager to meet you in person. That should be your way of writing. In my next video, I'm going to dictate to you how to write a job application. I'm going to give you sample paragraphs of writing a job application. But I would want you to do something. I want you to browse the net and look for different job applications that are already uploaded on the net and try and match your skills and your talents to that job application there. Okay, don't copy anything that comes to anything that you see. Copy things which add value to you, which make you a brand and which match your qualities and your talents. Now this reminds me of a joke. Once I am done with the job application and resume, I usually give you an assignment to submit your job application and resume. And when you are, this is a virtual classroom, but in the live classrooms where you and I together are, talking and communicating, I take around 3 classes to talk about job application and to talk about resume. I teach you the format of a job application, I teach you the format of writing a resume, I take a lot of pains of discussing and dictating all the notes to you. And finally, I give you an assignment saying that you have to submit your assignment of a job application and a resume applying for the post of a software engineer in a week's time, right? In a week's time, after teaching you for so many days, I give you 1 week's time to submit it. And do you know what your students do? You copy everything from the internet. You go to the internet, copy paste the job application, the resume and hand it over to me on the day of your deadline, right? Sometimes even before. And the best thing about you people while submitting your assignment is after you copy paste it so blindly that you forget to change the name, right? Some Rahul Khanna is there in place of Venkatesh here. Yes, and I'm surprised who's Rahul Khanna in my classroom. I have no Rahul Khannas, but then it is actually Mr. Venkatesh who has copied Rahul Khanna's job application and resume, and he has been so lazy, so lethargic that he has forgotten to even change the name. You blindly copy paste like you do it in your exams. Yeah, you blindly copy from here and there and write down, not even understanding whether it is the right answer or a wrong answer. The same thing is done with your job applications and resumes, right? So I'm not giving you a hint to go to the net and browse it and submit that as an assignment. I'm asking you to browse the net to look at matching job applications, something that match your qualities, your abilities, because net has a huge variety of job applications, a lot of different patterns, different styles of writing a job application. So whichever is the best, whichever suits your characteristics the most, try inculcating that in your job application, but please do not copy paste anything from the net. Alright? Okay. Now coming to, these were the do's that I spoke to you about. What should you do while writing a job application? Now coming to the don'ts. Now what should you not be doing while writing a job application? Do not be too extensive. As I said, don't write lengthy paragraphs. See that, when you're writing a job application, it should come only on one side of the page, which includes all the salutation that I spoke to you in the previous videos. Everything, the body of the letter, the salutation, all that included, it should come only on one side of the page, which means it should be short and sweet. Alright, so don't be extensive, and at the same time, don't be narrative. Don't tell the employer stories. You can tell cock and bull stories to your mom and your dad. Poor people will listen to you very patiently, but an employer does not have time to listen to your cock and bull stories. So don't narrate a story. Try being very brief and short. Okay, that's the first thing. The second don't is, especially with you students, this is very, very important. We are very, very bad at grammar. Some of us don't even know the spelling of grammar. I have been asking a few of my students to spell grammar, and they say G-R-A-M-M-E-R, which is not grammar. It is G-R-A-M-M-A-R. You don't know the spelling of grammar itself. Forget about using grammar in your sentences. And your grammar is like what you write on WhatsApp. Your WhatsApp messages are crisp and short, isn't it? You have even forgotten spellings. Forget about grammar. In your WhatsApp messages, what do you type? ABT is about. TQ is a thank you, isn't it? So you don't write complete words in your WhatsApp messages, and the same thing is done even with your letter writing. You try, or your job application, you try using all those short form words. You expect the teacher to read it and give you full marks. And there are some sentences that you use in your WhatsApp, and the same thing are used even in your writing part. You say long time no see. Your friends very happily understand what you've written, but that is not grammatically correct and not acceptable, especially in a job application. You are actually devaluing yourself when you write such things. See that there are no grammatical errors and especially no typos. Know what are typos? When you are typing, sometimes you miss one letter and some other letter appears there. Look at your typos, look at your typing errors. There should not be grammatical errors, there should not be typo errors, okay? And another don't is skills. Don't only focus on your talents or your skills, because that is already done in a resume. What you should focus on in your job application is your personality. Talk more about yourself. As I told you in the beginning itself, I said blow your own trumpet. Talk about your personality and talk about you in such an interesting manner that the employer would want to meet you in person. Fine? That's the next thing that you should be doing. Alright? And what you should not be doing is talking only about your skills. Right? Now another aspect that I would like to tell you is, employers, they prefer to have resumes which are accompanied by a job application. Okay, single resumes or resumes in isolation are not acceptable. So most of the employers favor resumes which are accompanied by a job application, which is very, very important. And another last point about your job application is that you should show that you are enthusiastic about joining the company. Now, how would you show that? How would your employer know that you are really interested about the company? The first thing that you must do before applying for a job is you have to research the company. When you go to the website, the company gives all its details on the website. So go through the website, read the website, get to know what the company is all about, get to know everything about the company. Companies are very, very professional when it comes to updating their websites. They do it on a very regular basis. You will never find pages under construction or you will never find that this page is blank. They fill up all the details on the website. They give you all the required information about their company. So research the company, and not just researching it and keeping it for yourself. Put that in your job application. Tell the employer that you have read so much about your company, that I know that so and so things are happening in your company, and I would like to join this company. I want to be a part of this company because it is a brand in itself, because it is the top in the market. So such things should be revealed in your job application. So keep in mind the do's and don'ts that I just spoke to you. In my next video, I'm going to talk to you and I'm going to teach you what are the different things that you should be writing in your job application. Hope this video was helpful to you. Thank you so much.